I suppose I could have waited till.
I'd like to call to order the Proctor City Council meeting for Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. Could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perform roll call at this time. Councillor Benson.
Present.
Councillor Reuter.
Present.
Councillor Johnson.
Here.
Councillor DeWall.
Present.
Mayor Ward's also present. Let the minutes reflect all others in attendance today. Looking for a motion to approve the City Council meeting minutes from Monday, January 3rd, 2022.
So moved.
Councillor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda. Before we make that motion, I'd like to do a couple additions. Under 1B, Communications, I'd like to add a report that's on your desk, the report of outstanding indebtedness. 4C, which is also on your desk, under Clerk Advises Council, the Salt and Sand Shed facility financing. 6I, which was mailed out earlier today, is legislative agenda items, Resolution 04-22. And 6J, which I believe Councillor Benson passed out a little while ago. Is that correct, Councillor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Is that the...
Main Street Economic Revitalization?
Yes.
Okay, we'll put that on 6J. So with those additions, looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Councillor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. At this time, we'll take comments and suggestions from the citizens present. The comment and suggestion period of this meeting is when the City Council offers a time for everyone in attendance or watching from home to address the City Council. Once we move on from public comment and suggestion period of the meeting, members of the public will no longer be allowed to address the Council unless the Mayor acknowledges you. As a general rule, the Council will listen to all comments but will not comment on or respond to any comments made by speakers. The Council will not engage in dialogue. However, any Council member can ask questions. If you'd like to address the City Council during the public comment and suggestion period of the meeting, please come forward to the podium or call 218-628-6289. Before you begin, please state your name and address for the minutes. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the City Council will be prohibited from using obscene, profane, or threatening language or boisterous conduct that disrupts the meeting or the security of the public. Is there anyone at this time that is interested in participating in the public comment and suggestion period of this meeting? Again, that call-in number is 218-628-6289, and we'll give that a minute. Hearing none, we'll move on. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Councillor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. That will bring us to 4A, Insurance Renewal. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. As I am calling in from my home this evening, and I appreciate being allowed to do that. We have been working on the insurance renewal. I just wanted to report the status on that, as some of you may be curious as to what's happening. We were bound by the first of the year. We expired at the end of the year. And some major changes that we're looking at. If you can excuse me, I'm going to get down to my... we did add the fire truck for replacement cost. We also are working on liquor liability questions surrounding the golf course. It appears that we do not need to carry it if the new contract is indeed going to require the new management to have liquor liability. We would need to have certain assurances and language in that contract. And then, other than that, we'll be looking for renewal shortly to come across the desk.
I'm sorry, I'm having a tough time hearing you, but what did you say we're looking for renewal?
The renewal should be, the renewal amount should be coming across the desk here in the next couple weeks.
Awesome. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Administrator Rich on the insurance renewal? Hearing none, we'll move on. That will bring us to 4B, COVID-19 update. Administrator Rich.
Again, thank you, Mayor. I sent out a COVID protocol document to you before the council meeting. I do know that this was late notice, and some of you may not have had a time to go through the entire document. So I guess at this point, I'm just presenting to you as a draft for you to look over, and I encourage you to contact city employees about it, ask them questions. Some of the language in it was based off of the employee survey results that were sent out, which I also included those. Some notable things in the document. If you look at the survey results, some of the top concerns that employees had is one of the top survey ones. The first question was coworkers coming to work sick. Another top concern, 8 out of the 15, depleting sick time if the employee or family member gets sick. So I did put some language in there about the 3 days. If employees do not use 3 unplanned sick days in a year, they get a deposit into their health care savings plan. So please pay attention to that information in that memo, in that document. It's kind of an incentive or incentive to make sure that they stay home when they're sick, because they're afraid that they may lose that benefit. So at this point, if you could just read through the document and get some questions and comments back to us. Some of the other things that the survey said that I need to do a little bit better job of communicating COVID protocol and policies. We did get our Q COVID testing packets from the state of Minnesota, so we were able to do PCR testing on location right now. Those come from the Minnesota Department of Health. And that has worked rather well in the few days that we've implemented it. We've had 2 negative tests from employees that have reported, and then, of course, 1 positive. As an overall, we get a 3.93 rating from our employees about our organization's response to COVID. And we're getting about a 4.2 on a scale of 1 to 5 if employees feel safe at work.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions regarding the COVID-19 policy at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on. That will bring us to 4C, salt and sand facility financing. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, this was sent out this afternoon. You had asked for some possible options in financing the gap in the sand salt of the $1.369 million project. the city of Proctor's share is $960,000. We did budget $110,000 in the 22 budget, and we do have the $500,000 from the bonding bill, leaving a funding gap of $350,000. You have in front of you on that memo 3 possible solutions. I would say that they are ordered. Number 1 is our recommendation, and 3 is the least recommended, but still nevertheless an option. And this too, as I think we're going to talk later on the agenda, can be discussed as time goes on, and as you have more questions and at a further future budget meeting. But we do have some remaining funds from some GO bonds and then possible ARPA uses to fund the gap. Again, this is for information purposes for you to get back with questions, comments, and suggestions.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions regarding the salt sand facility financing at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on. Administrator Rich, did you have anything further?
Only that we made the deadline with a few days to spare on the Safe Roads to Schools a funding application. Again, we have asked for the full amount, and I think that we stand a pretty good chance at it, although I've been surprised by grants before. And then also just a reminder that if the Safe Roads to Schools funding isn't received, that does change the project scope. So things that you may be seeing, for example, on the school board agenda, those are for Safe Roads to School purposes. So the scope of the project can change drastically if we don't get the Safe Roads to School funding.
Thank you. Did anyone have any questions regarding those comments?
How much are we talking?
For the Safe Routes to School? Administrator Rich, was it 500,000?
Yep, that's correct, 500,000.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll move on. Thank you. And that will bring us to 6A under new business, Midwest Communications Medallion Hunt. In your packet was a event application for the Midwest Communications Medallion Hunt. They do it every year. Proctor is one of the communities that the medallion can be hidden in. Just looking for a motion to approve the event application.
So move.
Councilor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6B, SWCD Service Agreement. In your packet again is the agreement that we do yearly for the South St. Louis Soil and Water Conservation District. It expires 12/31/2021. We're renewing it, and I believe Administrator Rich is proposing a 2-year agreement. It doesn't look like there were any rate increases to this, so just looking for a motion to approve a 2-year agreement.
So move.
Councilor Benson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6C, Attorney RFP. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. 3 proposals were received for general legal services, and 1 proposal was received for criminal prosecution services. Council members were given a copy of the proposals along with a rubric. The rubric was based on 1, qualifications, 2, the ability to meet scope of work, and finally 3, the cost fees. Sorry, I live by a railroad track too, if you hear that in the background. The cost fees in their proposal. The ability to meet the scope of work was weighted the highest, and the cost and fee was weighted the least. The results were Bray and Reed received the highest cumulative score of 348. The lowest score was 231. Also, Bray and Reed were the only firm that submitted a proposal for criminal prosecution, so it's my recommendation to accept the proposals from Bray and Reed for general and criminal legal services.
Thank you. You heard the recommendation from Administrator Rich. Is there a motion to accept that RFP?
So moved.
Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Congratulations, Attorney Bray. 6D, PETA Commission Member Appointment Recommendation. At the last PETA meeting, there was a recommendation made to seat Eric Bingaman on the Proctor Economic Development Authority. There were 2 applicants, and he was the one that was selected with a scoring process similar to the attorney one. Looking for a motion to approve Eric Bingaman on the Proctor Economic Development Authority. And I'll go ahead and make that motion. Is there a second?
Support.
Second by Councilor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6E, 2022 official designations. In your packet, there were some official designations being submitted. There are some corrections that need to be done on this. So Attorney Bray, should we just take them one at a time on these, or since there are corrections?
One at a time, yeah.
Thank you. So we will entertain a motion for designating the Proctor Journal as the official newspaper with the Duluth News Tribune as the alternate.
I'll make a motion.
Was that Councilor DeWall? Councilor DeWall made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Benson.
thank you. This Duluth News Tribune as alternate has appeared on this for the last 4 years without any sort of rhyme or reason. I don't think under state law, we could ask Mr. Bray, but I don't think under state law there's a provision for an alternate. Unlike depositories, that's different, but I could tell you I don't know of one other community in Minnesota that has a alternate for a legal publication.
Thank you.
There's no statute, but in the absence of a statute, doesn't mean the absence of the board. And cities are generally given the ability to do what they reasonably can in the event that nobody is unable to meet the needs of designation on the list of the newspaper. My recommendation is maybe not do it tonight, but if you need to, there's an issue, say, Madison dies in fire or wreck, well, then you bring it up again.
Thank you. You heard the recommendation from the attorney. There is a motion and a second on the floor. Councilor Benson?
Yes. And I just go back that during those last 3-4 years when it comes before the city council, we have always said, no, we got one legal newspaper and that's it. So if I could offer an amendment, I would say to remove that second publication permanently, because that has been our intent over the last number of years.
Thank you. So again, we do have a motion and a second on the floor. Unless those 2 parties are willing to amend their motion and second to reflect that recommendation from Councilor Benson, we will put it to a vote. So I guess Councilor DeWall made the motion. Would you be willing to amend, or do you want to put your original motion to a vote?
I would defer to the second on the motion.
I
Councilor Reuter.
would have no trouble taking that out. I mean, if something happened to the Proctor Journal, it would just come back to the council and we'd redesignate somebody
Someone
else. So if it's causing a problem, I wouldn't have any problem taking it out.
And I guess I've always viewed it as, I don't know if alternate is a good use of word. I've used it, I thought about it as a backup in case something like that were to happen. We have a backup ready to go. So.
Councilor Reuter would be willing to amend his second
I'll amend my motion.
to remove. So I believe the motion on the floor is to name the Proctor Journal as our official city newspaper, striking the Duluth News Tribune as an alternate. Correct?
Correct.
We do have a motion on the floor. Councilor Reuter still seconds that. Any further discussion?
I have one.
Councilor Benson. Don't ask to put it back on, please.
Pardon me. Post-nasal drip. And I refer to Mr. Bray whether or not this is something I should be voting on.
No, you have a financial stake in the ultimate vote, so you should abstain.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Abstain.
Councilor Benson abstains. Motion passes 4-1. Depository.
4-0.
4-0 with one abstain. I'm sorry. Thank you, Councilor Benson. Depository of city funds. First National Bank of Proctor, Proctor Federal Credit Union, Minnesota 4M Fund, PMA Network 4M Funds, RBC Capital Markets, and Dan Rashier, and Northland Securities. Looking for a motion to approve those depositories.
Motion to approve.
Councilor DeWall made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. I'll make a motion to have Councilor DeWall remain as Mayor Pro Tem. If there's a second for that motion.
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to name Jess Rich, City Administrator, as responsible authority for data requests.
So moved.
Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to name Jess Rich, City Administrator, as Compliance Officer. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to name Jess Rich, City Administrator, a designee of records.
So move.
Councilor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking to name, here's a correction on here, Sean Reed as prosecuting attorney. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor DeWall. Any further discussion? Councilor Benson.
You mentioned Sean Reed?
Yes. That's who we just accepted the RFP for.
I did not have the RFP in front of me. Thank you.
Yep. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking to name John Bray as our city attorney.
So move.
Councilor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Megan, how you doing?
Fine.
Okay. We'll keep going then. Looking for a motion to name Jim Rich as our building official.
So moved.
Councilor DeWall made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking to name Jay Boysen as our building inspector. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking to name the state of Minnesota as our electrical inspector.
I don't believe we need to do that.
Don't need to do that? Okay, we'll skip that one. This one's going to be a little bit of confusion here, but our fire department officers, the list that you see in front of you, all the way down to the Relief Association. I believe the Relief Association is correct, but up top then it should reflect as Carrie Helquist as chief, Troy DeWall, Kevin Field, and Jesse Anila as assistant chiefs, striking Jay Boysen from that list because he is now retired. Lynn Widdis as secretary, Lisa Vogel as treasurer, Brad Johnson, Lynn Widdis, Chris Bryant, all as captains. Is that correct, Councilor DeWall?
Yes.
Thank you. And if anyone needs confirmation of that, that list can be found under 6F, under the fire department officers as well. So just looking for a motion to seat those firefighters.
So move.
Councilor Benson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Sent by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. And that should be all of them. So that'll bring us to 6F, 2022 Committee Commission Appointments. Attorney Bray, can we make a motion, if we're going to keep everything status quo, can we make a motion to the committee commission appointments as presented in our packet?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. I don't know if that's what we'll do, but I just want to find out. So in your packet, we have the 2022 committee commission appointments along with our meeting schedule. I know Administrator Rich, I believe, the emails that you did receive were, everyone was happy where they are. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. So if it's all right with council, I will make a motion to go with the committee commission appointments as presented in the packet.
I will second that.
Councilor Reuter seconds that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. I'll bring us to 6G, 2022 budget discussion. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. So you were also given a document this afternoon on the 2022 budget. It is a lot of information, and it was very late in the hour. I apologize for that. So it is my suggestion, and I spoke with Mayor about it, that we plan a working session for next week, give you time to digest this information. The state auditor requires a 22 budget report by the end of the month. I just want to let you know that budgets can be amended at any time, and it's perfectly acceptable to do that. So should something happen where your levy is set, that is set, you have a balanced budget as reported by Finance Director Brunfeld. But we would feel more comfortable if you approved the budget before we submitted it. So with that, I would suggest having a budget session meeting. Mayor is not going to be at the next meeting, so if we could get all of us together, so we all have input, you have time to look at it. The areas that she has moved around or suggested are highlighted in that. I certainly take some questions now, or we can leave this for, we can table it, we can, for the next meeting, or just present it as it's just being presented to you, and action will be taken at a further meeting.
And I spoke with Administrator Rich prior to the meeting, and my suggestion was maybe next Wednesday, the 26th of January at 4 p.m. if we could schedule a budget meeting that night or that evening. And we can approve a budget hopefully at the next meeting.
I will not be available on the 26th.
What works for you, Councilor Benson?
25th? 24th?
Does the 25th work for everybody? Yay, nay?
I'm waiting for my schedule to open.
Oh. I'm available 24th, 25th, 26th, so as long as it's 4 or after 4, I'll be available.
What was the date you're looking at, the 25th?
25th works for Councilor Benson, yes, and myself.
It works for me as long as we keep it early. I gotta be about 6:45.
4 o'clock. Councilor Johnson, does the 25th work for you? So let's go, Administrator Rich, how about you?
The 25th, I'm sorry, Mayor, was that the 25th at 4 o'clock?
Yes.
Yep, that's fine with me.
Okay, we'll go Tuesday, January 25th at 4 p.m. City Hall for a special budget meeting. Budget, and do you want to add COVID-19 in that as well?
Yes, please.
Perfect. Councilor Johnson?
Can we send out a reminder on that, please?
Absolutely.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
I'll see what I can do.
So with that being said, I'll make a motion to have a special budget/COVID-19 meeting Tuesday, January 25th at 4 p.m. at City Hall. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes.
And I do want to thank the council for that accommodation. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Councilor. Administrator Rich, I'm sorry, did you have anything more to add on that?
No, well, just that I encourage you to reach out to Finance Director Brunfeld if you have specific questions on those items that she highlighted. And then, Mayor, we may also want to talk about the sand salt financing at the meeting as well, just because it is it is a budget-related item. So please forward any questions you have about that to us, and we'll try to get them answered before the meeting.
Thank you. All right, brings us to 6H, Resolution 03-22, issuing gambling permit. In your packet was a issuance of State of Minnesota charitable gambling license for a permit to Lake Superior Chapter Muskies, Inc. to conduct a raffle at the Proctor Moose on March 12th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Sent by Councilor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6I, legislative agenda item, resolution 04-22. This was emailed out prior to the meeting. It is
But years old, so I'm not sure. I would like to think that we do the sales tax request, which will go before the voters, if approved by the House and Senate tax committees. But more importantly, at one of our upcoming meetings, we need to get to Mary Murphy a resolution of that Munger Trail Spur, which is what this resolution kind of looks at, that we're going to use the sales tax for. We could also probably, because it has that regional significance, and it's the missing link between Hermantown and the Duluth trails and ultimately the Munger Spur. So I think it'll gain lots of support down at the legislature. And I would certainly appreciate the council's support, and I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Councilor Benson. Any further discussion regarding that?
Councilor Benson, when you say that the numbers aren't right,
Well,
give us an example. I mean, like,
in the, I think, third paragraph, where it looks at the estimated cost of construction, $6 million, which is about $1 million a mile, plus some other unknowns. Costs will cover 20 years at 4%, and with interest over 20 years, it would be $21 million. I think maybe the comma got in a couple of wrong places, or there's an extra couple of zeros that shouldn't be there. But yeah, that would be one glaring error. And I didn't have an update on the what a 0.5% sales tax would be. I used the 2019 numbers in part because that's when we had a full year and no COVID and things were normal.
Thank you.
and so if, hypothetically, if it's $6 million for this trail, the 0.5% monies would go towards that to pay for it?
Yes.
Okay, and then if that were to be true, would we also apply for grants and stuff like that to help out that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And I would have to believe that there are those trail grants out there. Outdoor recreation, trails, boy, there's a plethora of grants.
And that's what the trail from connecting from Hermantown to Duluth is, 6 miles?
Probably around 4, but by the time you get into Proctor, there's some zigzagging and back and forth, and I
Okay.
added a extra million because I don't know how you get across I-35 other than like Boundary Avenue or Uggstead Road.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion and second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6J, Main Street Economic Revitalization Funding. Councilor Benson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. This came before me today, January 18th. So it was a little bit last minute, but I did want to get it in front of the City Council. We don't certainly have to act on it this evening, nor do I seek a vote. But I think it's something that we could use, considering that, we have the 2nd Street project and then the Highway 2 project coming up, that this could be very helpful. So, if we could keep this, there is a deadline of February 28th. And there's some webinars you could view to kind of get an idea about what it's all about later this month, January 27th. But there's $80 available, 80 million, and I think that we're in a good position to be successful on this. So if we could get it on the next agenda and give it some further discussion, or maybe even bring this up at the budget meeting, it would work.
Thank you. Administrator Rich, can we add that either to the next agenda or for next Wednesday's meeting? I can talk to her about it later. All right. Any further discussion on 6J? Hearing none, we'll move on to members' concerns. Councilor Benson.
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing. Thank you.
Nothing. Councilor DeWall.
Nothing.
Councilor Johnson.
I do have a concern about the street lights being out of service in our Proctor city, and there's lots of them. And I'm concerned about safety and how it looks with them lights being out, and I want that known out there. So that's it.
Thank you, Councilor. Administrator Rich, could that be addressed at the next PUC meeting maybe to get some answers on if they're aware even of all the streetlights out?
Yeah, we are working with PUC. They've developed a new reporting system. Shar's assistant Tammy is developing a new way of reporting to it, so we're just giving that some time. But Councilor Johnson did talk to me about his concerns, and I agree with him, and I think that PUC agrees too, that we need to put some pressure on Minnesota Power.
Thank you. Councilor Reuter.
Nothing at this time.
Nothing. I just got one thing. The next meeting I will be absent from. Councilor DeWall will step in and do a fine job, so just wanted to let it on record that next meeting, February 7th, I'll be absent. Attorney Bray.
Well, thank you for appointing the city attorney. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That being said, looking for a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $174,719.98.
So moved.
Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Councilor DeWall made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes.